Hey everybody, I hope you all had a great day so far. Oh, my morning's been a bit busy, but it's alright. I think I'm ready to get started. So let's just jump right into it. Alright, so there was a strange bug yesterday. It was like argument exception. Let's clean this up a little bit. Argument exception, out of bounds or something like that, but it didn't have anything to actually do with with an array or something like you would expect. And if I remember right, it was on this line. And for some reason that came from the fact that this validator was null. So I don't really know why having this be null would cause an argument exception instead of a null reference exception. But eventually I was able to figure it out. So yeah, just a weird compiler thing, I guess. I'll have to remember that quirk. But now we can see, yeah, it works just fine. Or no errors anyway. And I can type in here. It does throw an event whenever it changes. Although I should really put a toString so I can see what that input is, but... And then also, it won't let me type... Oh, no, you can do periods. It won't let me do, like, a semicolon I'm trying to add right now. Yeah, because you can do semicolons and underscores. But that is fine. But anyway. Okay, so now that we've hooked up some of this stuff and there's actually some input here, I think I'll go back to the input manager on the system side and go ahead and set that up. So where is it? Slot, isn't it like player slot? Okay, yeah, there we go. So we'll need to just subscribe to this new input event. And I think it's slot disconnected player username. So on reserve username input, I'll just call it that. Probably need, yeah, we should move. Lots of things actually use this function. I'm kind of wondering if I should put it somewhere more easily retrieved by all the other classes, but I don't know, it's not really that complicated. So let's see, change this to I think is what I used. I shouldn't use I actually because that is like the iteration variable. Oh, can I not use... Oh yeah, in is a keyword, so I guess, okay, let's just call it input. Alright, so what really all I have to do is first check to make sure, yeah, we're in phase, and this is the host, and then the index in here is valid. And if that's true, then I guess I can grab this. Okay, and I should make sure that the type is actually correct. So yeah, we should check that it is a slot with a client. Okay, and is slot with client. Because yeah, if it's not a player or a spectator, then we shouldn't reserve anything for this username. Okay, well, I guess if it passes all that, oh yeah, then I should check the username validator myself. In general, in system classes, you should kind of not completely trust input from the UI because the UI could be out of sync or something, so it's usually good to try and test it out yourself. So yeah, is slot with client, and I guess we can just add another check here for username valid is valid input dot username. Okay, we did have a thing here. Oh, well, no, this is actually fine. If it's null or empty, that's okay too. But yeah, that's actually a bit more complicated, so let's move this out. Okay, so if username valid, then that's good. We can just add that here. Else, if string is null or empty, that's okay too, because that just means that there's no reservation, so we would just set username to null at that point. I think that's all I have to do. Do I need to check anything else? Or there's no other variables to update? Okay, so when that happens, we would just call this. Oh yeah, and we also want to make sure that there's actually been a change, so okay, so let's do this. String username is input.username. If user, let's do this. If this is null, then I just want to change it to null so that we don't have to deal with empty strings. And then if username what is it? Comparer dot. I don't have this already. Equal username slot dot username is false. Okay, then we'll do this. Oh, I should check. Actually, do I? Okay, I was gonna say. Yeah, that we want a null string and an empty string to be equal, which is already how this handles that. So. Maybe, okay, I actually don't need to do this part because that's already taken care of here. Okay, and yeah, so that if there's a change... Oh, actually I wouldn't do it there because we'd only set this if it's valid or is null or empty. Okay, so let's try that out. Gotta finish compiling, of course. There we go. Okay, so if I just type in A, then, yeah, so then we go and yeah, we actually send the parameter message to the server, or the lobby change to the server saying this is reserved for A. Okay, now why did it queue? Oh, I bet these are for each separate field, so that's not a huge deal. Well, actually, I should check to make sure if I type again, does it queue it 3 times? Okay, so let's see when the first event. So it queued. Okay, so the input is just once, so that's fine. And then it fires that the parameters changed event, and then that fires the send parameter command. Okay, and then the UX refreshes based on the parameters change. Okay. Oh, and then I guess this updates because this has been set again, but slot input manager does not. Yeah, it notices that there's been no actual change, so it doesn't like fire a lobby parameter change again, so that's good. Okay, and then here it sends the message to the server, and the server gets it and then sends the message back. Okay, let's actually check. Yeah, and so here we can see the username is reserved. So what would happen? Okay, well let's see if this will work without me having to rebuild a second player. Can't remember exactly all that I've changed since I last rebuilt it, but I kind of would like to just connect right now and see what slot the lobby would put me into. Hopefully it would put me into slot 3. Well, of course, unless I type the username AA, which I might do in just a sec to test that as well. So join, and this will just be client. Okay, and it did put me in here because slot. Oh yeah, see this hasn't. The UI is not up to date. But here, yeah, we can see it put me here, which is good. So if I create join as another client and have the username AA, then it should put me into slot 2. Which it did. Let me just check this. Yeah, username. Okay, so one other thing I could think of is that probably we should throttle these messages, our lobby change messages, because right here when I typed, like it fires a lobby change every key I press. So it's gonna start sending tons of messages to the server. I'm not gonna worry about it yet, but probably towards the end we'll want to throttle messages. So let me have a little note here. And throttling just means don't send, like try to only send a message like every couple seconds or something instead of every time something changes. So throttle lobby param change messages. And that will be okay because at the end when we exit the lobby, we'll make sure that we have the most up-to-date lobby parameters, so it doesn't matter if it's lagging a bit while we're in the lobby. Okay, and then yeah, so here the client's just disconnected. Ooh, this inspector got messed up. And then the switch back to disconnected state. So that's good to see that works too. So now I could change this, and then if I try to reconnect it, wouldn't be able to go into this slot. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I think we're done with that. What is the next part? If I just find the right place. I kind of wish that would save my view here. Okay, so I've done connected, disconnected. Oh yeah, so I got guest and AI to do. Let's do the guest, I guess. Yeah, so what is involved in that? looking for? Slot. Yeah, elements. Okay, so I've got guest. Oh yeah, the guest drop down and then the guest nickname field. Okay, so the guest stuff drop down is a little interesting because I have to fill this with every connected player. So let's do guest of drop down manager. I guess I'll close all but that and to clean that up. And I guess I'll just copy this, although this is a lot more complicated than what we'll need. Okay, so I'll need the lobby parameters, I guess, to see. I don't know, actually. Well, yeah, because I'll need to see, we'll go through every username and then see if they're connected. What actually happens? Okay, that's a good question. So what happens if someone disconnects and they have a guest? We don't really want to wipe the guest. So I guess the username would stay in there. So we kind of have to keep a memory. Okay, so I guess the dropdown should have every connected player and then every player that's reserved. Yeah, so you can maybe want to switch that up. So actually, okay, I was thinking I'd have to get the client info, but we really don't need to know what clients are currently connected or not. We just have to see which usernames are in a slot. So, okay, what did I... Oh, yeah, this, I need a local connection because we should only be able to change this if we're the host. Oh, but I don't need that. And choice. Okay, I don't really need a dialogue, so that's good. Okay, so what can I get rid of? Get rid of here. Okay, so yeah, it's interactable in input phase and we're the host. On phase change, first I guess, yeah, we have to set each of these drop downs as interactable or not. We don't have a dialogue, so I can get rid of that. And then match parameters. Okay, well first of all we have to figure out the type items. So I forget, how do you do that? I don't want that. So it's the guest of drop down. I think there's a clear options and then there an add. Okay, add options and you list of sprites. Oh right, you can put a sprite in this option drop down, but we don't actually want to do that. So we just have a list of strings. Okay, so that's kind of simple to figure out. I guess I'll build or I'll save a list here. So drop down options. Okay, and let's actually remember to create this list here. And we can build it before we loop through the slots. So first we should clear it. And then for int, yeah, we'll actually loop through here once, and I'm pretty sure, again, we would just add, excuse me, add every username that exists in here. So if these slots dot username, I guess I should check to make sure it's not string or empty, or null or empty. And I think that's all I have to do, because I guess I should pull that out. Because this username would be null if it's an AI or some slot that we don't care about. Okay, actually, so if this is a guest, then we might get duplicates. So let me see. Username equals... I guess we will need this function again. Is slot with client. Oh, except ours will be a little different because there won't ever need to be a guest of a spectator. Oh, thanks King of Cows for following. I really appreciate it. I hope you like what you... I hope you enjoy the stream. So yeah, we'll get rid of... Yeah, definitely no spectators, because it makes no sense to have a guest of a spectator. Yeah, so basically the only thing we'd want is if it's a player, so... is... valid option, so it'd be a player that's not a guest. Is valid option, and I pass, oh, the type. I think I can actually just pass the slot index here. Make this easier on me. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I guess we'll check that first, and we'll pull the username out. I can make this even easier. So another thing. We can make sure that the username is not null, although I guess it shouldn't be, but... Okay, and now I also need to make sure that there's no duplicates. Let's go ahead and also do that here, I think. Okay, so let me change this. Use player. And yeah, I'm gonna change this to an if statement, because if this is true, then we'll need to look through everything that's already in the list and see if the username is actually a duplicate. Username is slot.username for each already in list, and options. Okay, drop down options. If username comparer dot equals, and again I can't just do drop down options dot contains this username, because the username comparer compares in different ways than just seeing if they each have the same character. So I kind of have to loop through each, which is slightly annoying, but so if this is a duplicate, then we'd return false. But if it makes it through the entire list without finding a duplicate, then we'll return true. And here we return false because one of these is not true. Okay, So that was actually more complicated than I thought it would be. But yeah, so if it passes all that, then we'll add it here, and then we'll just keep looping. Okay, so item dot guest of drop down, add options. Okay, and then this function will find the current value for this slot, and then we'll set it interactable. Then here, if I is greater than this, that means there's been a new guest dropdown added since we last updated, so we need to also register a listener. So that's taken care of. Okay, so for here, we really just need to okay, so what should happen? Yeah, if this is a first, if this is a slot that doesn't need anything. So I guess we need a none option here. So add. Well, that doesn't make any sense because I guess has to have something. So I guess I'll change this to not set. And that will be index 0. So if the slot is not a player, or slot is a guest, then we'll return 0 because none of those. Or wait, no, slot is not a guest, then we'll return 0. Okay, so if slot is a player and it's a guest, then we actually would have some value in here. So I need to check the username that's in the slot. So username, which for guests is the same as the username of the client that they're associated with. That's not what I want to do. Then okay, so then I need to look and find its index in the drop-down options. And I can skip the first one. So for int I equals 0, I less than drop-down options count. Oops. If username comparer equal username drop-down options I. So basically, if this username is in here, then we'll return that index. But if for some reason this username is not in the list, what should I do then? Well, that shouldn't really ever happen. But I guess if it does... okay, so maybe we should make sure that never happens by actually adding the username that's already in the guest slot to this option too. Okay, so let's just get rid of this check. I think this will be the easiest way to deal with that. Okay, okay, also I should check if the username is null, then we'll also just return 0. No reason to search through there. In fact, I think I will reorganize the way this function is. So if type is player and it's a guest and string is null or empty is false, then we'll search through the list. But if either of those is not true, or we can't find an equal option, which shouldn't ever happen, but if for some reason it does, then we'll return 0, which is the not set option. So the only other thing I could see being kind of weird here is if for some reason somebody uses the username not set, and in order to make that not happen, I'm gonna put some hyphens at the beginning, which are an illegal character in username. So in the final UI, we'll have to have some better way to deal with that, but probably I would just have a different list for the actual drop downs and then the usernames we found. But anyway, so here's a value change. So we'll do this to slot guest parent input. Okay, and actually return the username. So the only thing is, so if the value index is 0, then we'd actually set the username to null. Which I guess I don't have to do because it's null by default, but otherwise we would just set it to the object that's in the drop-down options list. Or set it to the string, I should say. Yeah, we don't have a dialog for this, so that's fine. Okay. Guess let's go ahead. I'll make the system for this while I'm here. So we'll add a new event listener. So I can just copy this line of code so I don't have to type it all. So slot guest parent input. Generate the method, but I want to move it down below just to try and keep things clean. Oh, I didn't copy it. Alright, let's just change this to input. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is do some checks. Make sure I'm the host and we're in the right phase and the slot index is not out of bounds. If that's all true, I need to make sure that this is a guest slot. Okay, so if slot type is player and slot is guest, then switch the username. And we'll pretty much do something similar to here. We'll check to see if the usernames are different. If they are different, then we check if the username is valid. Oh yeah, I guess I still should do that. And then we'll put it in there. If it's not valid, oh yeah, so then we check if it's null or empty. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Actually, is a null string valid? Okay, no, it's not. That makes sense for that, but... Okay, so since I use this twice, maybe I should pull this code out. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could, but... Oh. Also, I kind of... something a little weird there. Guess I don't need to have that. Okay, so anyway, this is all hooked up. Okay, we got an error. I think I probably just forgot a closing parenthesis somewhere. Oh, did I? Oh, I guess I just didn't clean that up completely. Alright, so... Okay, I'll change this to a guest. Oh, it didn't update. Oh, I didn't initialize this... Excuse me. I didn't initialize this class. Allergies are a bit bad today. Okay, so it's in the lobby controller. So again, this is another UX class, which means I need to add it to the scene helper so it can be notified whenever Unity loads its scene, or loads all the UI. Okay, I'm pretty sure it should work now. Or at least it's hooked up. Okay, yeah, so it's set to not set. Okay, so why did that? What's happening? Okay, this is set to guest, but for some reason it doesn't like... Okay, I need to look through the events, I think, to see what's going on. Okay, so slot guest parent input on 1992. And then the input manager received it, and it says that the parameters have changed. But sometime it must get reset, and it's not in the same frame because we kind of see these colors flash. I think it's because when I set this to test username, the game is interpreting this as being this actual player, and then it sees it's a duplicate, and I don't know what's going on. Okay, so it's sending the lobby parameters. This is changing to the, or they're all reacting to the parameter change event, and that's because that's on the server. Okay, so yeah, this must have been fired. Oh, here immediately because. Okay, so I can look at the the player slot input manager notify prime change on guest parent input. I'm having trouble trying to parse what's going on. I think I'll clean up the log a bit. So let's just clear this and switch to guest. I guess I should clear it again. Okay, so we get guest parent input. Then it tries, so it does a parameter change event, and then it also queues parameter, a send parameter command, which will send it to the server. And then all the UX reacts to the parameters changed event and gets updated. And then this fires, because I think this fires every time there's a change. Okay, and then index. I guess that's still more just reacting to the change. Okay, and then this also fires an event that it's changed again. Maybe... Well, that shouldn't affect it. Okay, and then, let's see. Parameter change event is fired again. Okay, so it fires it again for some reason. Okay, I guess I can look at the call stack. Okay, so for some reason, on guest parent input, when it reacts to the parameter change the first time, it causes the parameters to be fired again. So maybe there's like some kind of loop going on. Okay, so a couple things to do. As I could just see before I fire this event right here, I could check to make sure that the usernames are actually different. Lobby slots, slot index. This isn't technically needed, but it does kind of cut down on clutter in the event queue. So if they're... Oh, but I did this backwards, of course. So if they're not equal, then we'll fire the event. But I don't think that's actually what's going on here. Okay, let's do a toString, which I guess I already have. I really should add toStrings to all of these events. I think I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, yeah, not even, don't even have that one yet, but okay, that's good for now. So maybe now we can see what's going on a little clearer. We're gonna clear the log. Okay, so yeah, it's saying slot 1 set to test username, which is fine. And then, okay, 1 set to test username, that's fine. Okay, now it's saying 1 set to null on global. So, okay, something must... that's kind of interesting. So what happens... I guess something in this parameter change event is causing the dropdowns to not have this test username anymore. Okay. Get rid of that so I don't accidentally edit it. I do clear it here, but then it should go back through the slots. Debug. Log. Okay, Okay, let's see what gets added in here. Okay, so nothing gets added here because we can see there's no events, so oh, it hasn't run yet. Okay, so actually it does say test username was added, but for some reason it still sends null here. On value change, that's doing anonymous stuff. Okay, so set value on guest dropdown manager, match parameters, line 65. Something is wrong here. So this, okay, so I guess the slot to dropdown index is actually where the issue is coming from. Is this index messed up? No, because the first index is not set, which we don't have to check. Oh, actually, that's wrong. It should be if this is a guest. If it's a player, if it's a guest, and the username is not null. Okay, I guess that was the issue. Yeah, sometimes little things like that can be hard to debug. Okay, so this is looking better. So test username. I kind of want to get rid of these events that aren't needed just because it's cluttering up my debug log. So I might go and do that. That's what's this going on. Oh, it's the disconnected username input. But yeah, we can see it didn't fire an event again because this test username is the same as what was already in there. And now it's just sending it to the server. Okay, so that's much better. First off, I'm going to get rid of that. And close the game so it won't lag on me. Okay, and then where is it? The disconnected connected username field. Oh, this shouldn't. Wait, what is this? Connected username field. Oh, I see. I kind of misnamed this because it should just be text and not field. But oh, let's not get lazy here. Oh, it didn't close. But now since I changed that, I need to go back into the lobby and update the prefab. I heard that Unity has been making something called an incremental compiler, which might actually be exactly what I need, because it would help make things not take so long to recompile every time I change something. But I'm a little scared to put it into the project in case it causes a lot of bugs. But sometime I have some extra free time, I might see if I can get it to work, because I know I'm always complaining about the compile times. Let's see. Yeah, so I want to get rid of this and the slot. What did I call it? Reserve text manager. So all I should do is just not queue this value if it's equal. So if slots, alright, p slots, slot index dot username my Twitch dashboard is going a little wacky, so I hope my stream is still good. OBS is not reporting any dropped frames, but please let me know. Oh yeah, I'm just passing one username. No value. Also, I guess I could check to make sure that this value is even valid, but I guess I don't really need to because this takes care of that. Okay, so now let's just make sure that there's no bugs with that, but I just want to get rid of those superfluous events down here clogging up my log. Create. Oh, it still did fire them. Why? I guess they are changed. Oh, I did this backwards again. So yeah, if they're not equal, then we want to fire the event. Okay, well, I can tell this count is a lot lower. Yeah, thankfully they don't fire. So if I let's type something in here, but the game is still updating, so that's good to see. Okay. Okay, so now let's do this nickname, and this is just I don't know if a guest wants to have a specific name, I guess to tell you that, okay, it's that person's turn, then that would be what that's for. So let's see. It's really going to be almost exactly as the same as this reserve text manager. I think I'll go ahead and copy it while I have the file open. Okay, so let's grab some of these. This is sort of interesting. This actually might be a bit more complicated than I thought because we'd want the actual player to be able to change this and not the host, but that's actually interesting. But in order to do that, we'd have to fire an event from the player, and then the server would have to route it to the host, and then the host would receive that event and then update the nickname in the lobby parameters, and then it would be sent back to the server and distributed to everyone. So I'm kind of not wanting to do that right now. Because it's not really that important just for a display name. because I don't even know if I mostly just want guests right now for testing, but I don't know if in the final version we'll really allow them. Yeah, so I'm gonna put that off because it's not really that important. Let me see. I think, yeah, I'll put it even outside of beta 1. Okay, guest nicknames. Okay, so yeah, let's get rid of all this. So we won't need that. And yeah, I mean, we haven't really done any work on it, so I don't feel like I need to save any code corresponding to it. So yeah, I'll just get rid of all of it. So I guess how we'll just do it is we'll just label the guest by their slot in the lobby, which is, yeah, kind of lame, but I don't know. Later on we can add nicknames. I guess I could just do like a kind of halfway implementation where the host can just set a nickname, but that seems kind of lame. And it's not how I'd want it to work. But maybe it's better than just removing it outright. I guess I should just do that. Now that I've already... Oh, it's not going to let me undo. Unity Y. Okay, well, I already applied it. Okay. Guess I didn't think this through all the way. Okay, well, we'll just go without it. Okay, so another thing I should do. Just delete this. Yeah, and later on when I can implement the feature fully, we'll just do it all then. It'll be fine. We do have a couple errors because I think I did clear out the nickname. Yeah, I gotta remove it from the message too. Okay, yeah, so that should just... Oh, there's a couple other places. Okay, well this was incorrect anyway. So now it should be compiling. Alright, so I can get rid of anything that had to do with that. We actually are done with this. Oh, we actually didn't have a toggle anymore, but reserved icon. Let's just make sure that I didn't break something. Okay, that's still fine. I should actually reserved. Now that should appear here, and it does. So if I did that, okay, this is interesting. If I start typing it, then there's going to be like double in here, which is, I guess, fine. But if I do this, then the other option should disappear, but the index still works. That's actually how I want it to work. So I'm happy with that. Alright, so now we just gotta do the AI dropdown, which we can't really do yet because we don't have mod loading. That'll actually be the next project after we do these lobby slots, but we can kind of just add the skeleton for it when we're ready. What should I... So we have the ready status change. I guess we can just have another things here for mod data change. And we'll also need a class just for the mod data. And I don't really know what will be in here. Oh, this shouldn't be in the UX actually. This should be just in the lobby. Okay, so we'll basically need metadata for all the mods. And that would be like the title and everything, but I don't really need to fill that in yet. Right now all I just need is a list of AI scripts contained in the mods, so... Okay, mod... That doesn't need to be public. Actually, yeah, I want to rename this, and this will be the registry for all mods. I guess I'll rename the file. And this will just have a list here. Oh, let's call it loaded. And okay, all I really want here is a list of AI scripts. Or it'll just be a string. Because it'll just be some name here. I guess this should be AI script display, because this will just be like, there'll be a separate key, which will be how the game figures out or refers to the AI script. And that will be different than how it can actually be displayed, because the display could be localized. Thinking about that. Maybe I should just have another class here for AI script. And this will just have the display name. Okay, okay, and then here we'll just have an AI drop-down manager. It'll actually work almost exactly the same as the guest of drop-down manager, except instead of pulling a list of all usernames, it will pull a list of all AI script. be slightly... actually, this is a good point. So, in order to identify an AI script, I also have to identify the mod's name. So let's see. Public string name. And I guess I will need the actual name and not just the display name here. So string. And then in the events, I think cast parent, so AI script input. So yeah, I can't just have the string, I have to have the mod name and then the script name. Okay, and let me see. So, what else do I need here? You're not going to help me out? Okay, so using Beluga 3 framework. And since for some reason not letting me just do that. Lobby. Oh, I need to fix the namespace here. Yeah, I don't need that anymore. Do I need the lobby parameters here? Actually, yes, because I have to make sure that the slot is actually for an AI, and then you need this because you can't change this if you're not the host. Okay, so that's the same. Oh, and then of course we need the mod data. Okay, so pretty much I have this match parameters, and I guess instead of calling it that, I'll call it refresh. So here, yeah, we'll get the UI registry and then refresh, and then is interactable. That's still fine. Okay, so what would I put in here? I guess... let's... Okay, well, this is going to be a lot more complicated, so I think I'm going to just pull this out to a whole separate function. Make drop-down options. Okay, so I guess, yeah, we'll have a not set. Also, okay, so the drop-down options, we're going to need to have a string for the drop-down option display, but then we're also going to need to have a separate list which has like the data behind the same index. So I think I'm going to need to have a structure for that. I'll have a string. I guess that'll need to be public. Mod name and script. Oops, how do you spell that? Okay, yeah, we just have to... You have to keep two separate lists, unfortunately. So we'll clear them both. And what would I do for the not set meta? Let me see. Let's have a constructor here to make this easier to set. Option, string, mod name. Okay, so now I could just call that constructor to set everything. And I think I might even have a helper function. So private void add option and string mod name, string script name, and string display name. Okay, so drop down options display. We'll add this. And drop down options meta. So that takes care of that. And so now I'll add option. I guess this will just be null, null, not set. Oh, and I don't, okay, since this is actually coded better, I don't have to, like this is actually kind of the way I should have done it in the other drop down so that the actual display is not the same as the data that we're doing logic on, but I'm not worried about it too much because this is all just temporary anyway. But yeah, now I don't have to have a hyphen there. So that's fine. Okay, so now I need to loop through every mod. Each var mod and mods loaded. Oh, is loaded private? I guess it must be. Oh, actually, okay, I got the wrong thing here. This should be mod data registry. Okay, so... And then here we'll do a for each var script and mod AI scripts. And then we'll just add this option. Okay, well, there won't be any duplicates in here, would there? No, I don't think so. I guess we'll make sure there's not any duplicates. Okay, and the only other thing is that... Okay, so we have to loop through every option currently on the dropdown, and if for some reason... Oh, that's actually a good point. Okay, so for right now, the lobby data, or the lobby parameters, don't... Like, they just store the script name and not the script name and the mod name. Which I feel like... I kind of have to do it this way, because we shouldn't, like, punish mod authors if some other random mod has the same script name. Also, should we guarantee that these mod names are unique? I guess we have to have some way to refer to the mod name. Well, we could use the folder name in Windows, because the folder has to be unique. Okay, well I guess it doesn't really matter. Regardless, this name will be unique somehow. How do I do it already? Oh, table of contents. So I do have a name and it's separate from the display name. So I guess I just make sure that this is unique. So we wouldn't load a mod if the name was Oh, I know why I did that, because like if you have two mods, then you'd only want to load the most recent one, I think. Well, that actually might not be how you'd want to do it. How do I want to do this? Let me see. Is anything... I know that lots of stuff uses the mod name already, which I could change that. Open. I'm trying to look for... Oh, here. So in the table of contents... This is obsolete. Like, just gonna delete that. Oh, does it actually... Okay, it actually doesn't have a name field, so that name is just kind of useless. It gets discarded. That's interesting. So, when I load the mods, what gets inserted as the name? Because I'm pretty sure there's some way it does. Where is it? Load mod, so framework. Okay, so there is a framework mod name, but mod folder. Oh, so maybe it uses the file name of the table of contents. Okay, yeah, so the mod name is actually the mods folder name. That makes sense. Because that has to be unique. Okay. So I guess that's fine. But maybe I should change how I name this so I don't confuse myself. Okay, the other thing is that it's important when I communicate across the network that the mods that like knows that two mods are the same. But I guess the only thing I can really go by is the name of the folder. And if they're different for some reason on another system, then it would just see that as a separate mod. Hey, thanks for the follow, NS Fletcher. Hope you enjoy the stream. Okay. Well, there's pros and cons to both. This way, or using the mod folder guarantees unique mod names, but also makes it so that if for some reason somebody renamed their mod folder, it wouldn't match up with another person and the game would see them as separate mods, which I guess is not really a horrible thing. You just shouldn't ever rename mod folders. I just don't know if that's how I actually want to do it. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna rename this name to something like, I don't know, I guess unique ID. That way I can have it or name it however I want. But I guess this would be an actual name that the mod sets or gives it, so we'll leave that. I think I'll actually use that same. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Same way of labeling and the mod loading. I'm trying to find loading assets. So loaded mod. Yeah, we have the mod name here, but I'll rename it to the unique ID. Okay, so that's fine. Now the AI script dropdown manager doesn't actually care about how the mod or what this mod name actually is, but I think it's better this way. Actually, yeah, this should just be mod ID and not unique ID because it's not unique for the option. Okay, and then the last thing I need to do is the lobby parameters should, because right now you can't identify a script just by the script name. So I need to actually pass the script name and the mod ID. So let me see here. Public string. Okay, and now I need to fix everything that uses that. Public string mod ID. I'm not gonna worry about the saving yet because we'll have to come and update this later. I think I'll put a little note here. So update save file for any lobby parameter changes, because we might do more changes later, so I'll just leave that. Then we will need to update the network param message. Public string AI mod ID. I guess I'll use the same name here. And then anytime that we do the AI script, we'll also do the mod ID. We'll slot AI script chosen. Okay, so AI script chosen for here would be if both the mod ID and the script ID is not null. Here, okay, that's the same thing. Oh, and this is the save. So we'll actually need to update this anyway when we do save files in the lobby, which, yeah, I forgot about. We'll actually get to that after we load mods. Okay, so anyway, I think that is good. Let's see if there's any errors in here. Oh, well, there will be some from the AI drop-down manager, but nothing, actually. This probably just hasn't finished loading everything. Alright, so let's get rid... The main thing is that the parameter sender and receiver deal with that data. Okay. So anyway, the whole reason I was doing that is because we want to add in an option here for every slot. Like, for some reason, if a mod is removed but you had set a slot to use a specific script that doesn't exist anymore, we still want that to be in the drop downs, and in case you reload the mod and it is loaded again, or it's registered again, I guess I should say. So we'll loop through every slot. 0i less than slot. Oh. Slots count. Slot equals lobby parameter slots I. Okay, so if slot type is AI and string is null or empty, slot AI mod ID is false, and the same thing for this. Slot AI script. Okay, so if that is true, then we actually need to loop through everything to try and find. So I guess we can just call this, and if an index exists already, then we don't have to add it. But if the index is 0, which is not set, then we'll add that to here. So yes, let me see. I know this is not updated yet, but I can go ahead and use the function. Slot to drop down index. I. And then if index, well, let's do less than or equal to 0. Then we'd add an option for slot AI mod ID. Oh, except now we won't have the display for this. That is kind of an issue. Let's do something like the string format. Okay, we probably all have to do something better because we'd want it to kind of remember the display ID, I think. But I don't know. I think that will be for a more sophisticated UI to deal with. Because yeah, we'd have to have a registry like for the last display name for every AI script that's been loaded ever. So yeah, I just won't deal with that right now. Okay, but anyway, that's good. Okay, so now I need to update this. Again, so if slot, we'll do the same type of thing. If it's not null, then we would loop through the meta actually and not, well, the same thing, but. So if, okay, so I guess both of these things are unique, so I should do upper invariant, I think. To upper invariant. Actually, I don't need to do this because I'll have already converted them to upper invariant when I add them to the mod registry. I guess why don't I add a little note for that? Should be upper invariant. And same thing with this. Okay, so I just need to convert the values that are in the slot. Oh, and since I do that, this should also be to upper invariant because, yeah, we can't assume that the slot value is just what's loaded in the mods. Okay, so if slot dot AI mod ID upper invariant equals, oh, I gotta get the value out of the drop down options. And again, we can skip the very first value in here because it's just the not set value, so that should be fine. So equals meta.mod ID and slot AI script equals meta script. So if that's true, then we'll return I. So either if this slot is the wrong type or that we can't find anything in the list, we'll return 0. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is this value change. Okay, so again, I don't really want to fire an event if it's not needed. Slot, AI script. Okay, I guess I should change this to mod ID. And e.script is null. Otherwise we'll get the value out of the meta, so... So pretty much I do the same thing here, except with the values in the event. Okay, so if, oh yeah. I need to get the slot equals e dot mod ID and then AI script e dot script name. And this should, okay, I should change this to be if either is not equal, then we'd fire the event. Okay, and then is valid option. What is this for? Oh, this is, okay, this is basically just doing this work up here, but I had structured the code a little differently. Oh yeah, this should be value index, not I. Okay, so anyway, and make drop-down options. Clear that, and then we'll add the display options and that index, interactable. And then again, yeah, if we need to check to see if any new drop-downs have been created since we last updated, and that's what this is doing. Okay, so that's all done. Okay, well, it's going to be difficult to test because we don't actually have, or I don't load any mods yet. But we can at least see if it works without any errors with no data. First of all, I need to create this new, or initialize this new class. Script drop-down manager, and then the mod data registry. Solve. This also, okay, it does listen to the mod change. I think this has just got to recompile. Right, so let's see if I change this to AI. So right now it's not set, and yeah, there's nothing that's gonna happen because we don't have any values in there. So we'll test this later when we actually load mods, but we kind of got the code ready to go. Also, I guess I should just make this drop down extend. Yeah, because we can't even see the whole file there, or the whole username. Oh, again, I keep on expanding the choice dialog. So what I think I just need to set this to expand. And then it will take up the extra room. But I guess I can actually check that in here without loading the game, so get rid of this and enable the AI. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what else do I need to do? I guess we're done with the AI now. Okay, we're done with the type info, so, oh yeah, the team info. And this we actually can't really test either because we don't load a save file yet. But I guess we can go ahead and do the same type of thing. Let me see. So thinking about the save file, we're gonna need a class that will load or have the current save file. So save file. I guess that's fine. And this will really just have save file. I think exists already. And then public bool is using save file. Okay. So like this line is really just supposed to give information about the player's current team. And I think I'm just gonna print out the names of the monsters in the team right now. Probably the final one will have a much nicer looking system, but or nicer looking info there. What do I want to call this? I guess save file info manager. And yeah, this script probably won't survive to the final version of the UI either, because I have a feeling that I'll need to break it up into several different files, but it'll be fine for now. Let's see, what can I use as a base here? I guess the indexed label. Okay, so we're gonna need the save file state. And a couple things. The player UI elements. I don't even have anything in here for the save file, so. First we'll have a game object for the save file line, which will just hide if there's no save file. So save file line, and then text, save file text. We'll go ahead and add this in once it's done compiling. I know, it's okay. Oh, it's not going to compile with this error. But that's not what I wanted to do. Right, yeah, now they're there. So that, and then I actually have multiple text in here. I don't want to do that actually for now. Let's make it really simple because, like I said, this is probably not going to survive until the final game anyway. I just want to get something kind of in there that'll help make it easier to test the save file system. And it will be usable, so that's in there, and I'll apply it. Okay, and if I disable this, okay, that does work. I guess that makes sense because it's just using a vertical layout group. Okay, so first of all, we want to just hide if we're not even using a save file. So if save file is using save file, okay, then we'll do something. Otherwise, we'll just do item, save file line, set active, false. What else would we... Well, if we're using a save file, then we would... I guess if we're using a save file, then we'd assume that every player would have a team. Yeah, because you can't add a team mid-game, so that would be fine. Yeah, so we don't really need to worry about that, but yes, we'll just print like an error if for some reason we can't find a team associated with this slot. So I am going to need the lobby parameters, actually. Okay, this is fine. And let me see. Let's just make a separate function for filling out the text. Private void string, or that makes no sense. Private string get info text. So var slot equals lobby parameter slots. Oh, I should rename that. So first I need to find the same save file associated with that slot, which I think in the save file, the lobby slots are identified by username. Or we can actually, okay, we can actually identify them by the index. Yeah, this is just like when we initialize the lobby from the save file, we would set these things, but besides that we can just use the index. Also, but the save player is... Okay, let me see. So right now I think the player has the same index as the slot, but I might want to change that. Because spectators do not have a player, obviously. I guess in that case the player could just be like a dummy. That might be the easiest way to do it. Another way would be also just to have a public string for the player username. And then we just try to match them up. Or even have an integer for the lobby slot, because that would probably be fine. I think I'll do it that second way. So I'll update. We're gonna need to update some of the other systems, but we can do that later. Lobby slot. Let me see. Write a note about that. So update save file. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to do that right now because I'm working with save file. And then update player to use lobby slot instead of assuming player index equals slot index. Because, yeah, we want to kind of support spectators. I think I'll go ahead and add... We have AI script index, I guess that's fine. We'll go ahead and add the lobby slot here. Although, I don't know if when we get to this point, if it'll even matter, but... Anyway. Let's clean up some of this stuff. Yeah, we don't need mods anymore, so I'll get rid of that. Okay, so now we need to find the player associated with this slot. So let me see. Private, void, or I'll just do int. Find associated player. So int slot index 0 less than save file loaded players length. Also, okay, I guess we'll assume that this is not null. Although, yeah, because it would... Yeah, for it to even get into loaded, the rest of the game would have already validated that the player array exists. Otherwise it would throw an error that's corrupted or something, so we wouldn't want to use it. Anyway. So if save file loaded players p dot lobby slot equals slot index, then we can just return p, otherwise we'll return -1, which we would say yeah, we would just throw an error for that. Int player index equals find associated player index if player index less than 0, return corrupted save file. Yeah, so basically whatever loads the save file should make sure that doesn't happen, but no data for slot. Alright, let's see that. No player for slot. Okay, so if we... I guess I don't really need the slot actually, so get rid of that. Oh, we also wouldn't get an info text if the slot is not a player index, so... Or I guess if it's just a spectator. So let me see. So we'd set this to true only if the slot is not a spectator. Okay, yeah, so that's interesting. If you're in a save file, you should be able to add spectators, but nobody else. I'll need to remember that. So slot type does not equal actually, okay, that's private bool has or expects save file data. Switch slot type, and yeah, it'll just be if it's a player or an AI. I have to do it this way because I forgot about the none slot type, which is the default, but okay, so no, I don't really need this. Okay, so anyway, get info text. Let's do item, save file text. Okay, so I don't need to test if this slot is valid. Well, actually I do because, yeah, okay, I do need to do that actually. Index is false, then we'll just return null because this is not visible anyway. Okay, so now finally I can actually build the info text here. So we'll do a string builder, and this really just is a helper class that helps you create a long string without having to like concatenate a bunch of strings, which generates a lot of garbage. This is just more efficient and easier to use actually. So we'll append team at the beginning, and then we'll loop through. I probably gotta do an int, so int t equals 0. Oh, first I gotta get the player, so Player equals save file loaded players player index, and then for int t equals 0 less than player team length. Okay, and now to get the actual monster. So yeah, monster index equals player. Yeah, this is right. Team T. Okay, and then here, this index could refer to a bad monster, but we would have actually caught that the save file was invalid before that, so I'm not going to test for that here. So var monster equals player. Oh wait, no. Save file loaded monsters monster index, and I think this will include a name. So SB append monster. Oh, well, this has a prototype name instead of like a nickname. Let's go ahead and create a nickname entry. Oh, I can't go there, obviously. Okay, I'm gonna be lazy. Okay, so public string nickname. And I need to remember to set this somewhere. Although I don't think the actual our monsters themselves support a nickname yet, do they? No. So we'll probably want to add that in. But I'm going to go ahead and add it to the save file. Okay, and then if t is less than player team length -1, which means that it's not the last object on the list, we'll add a comma. I guess we could say if the monster is alive or dead, but I won't worry about that right now. Okay, so... And then to turn the string builder into just a regular string, you just call toString. Nothing fancy. And that's it. Okay, I think we'll have time to test this, although I guess it won't really be much to test. It will just hide the lines when we go into the lobby because we don't save or have a save file active, but finally almost done with the slot UI. I think we just need to do the kick, transfer, and delete. Oh, and add buttons. Okay, so we still do have a little bit to do, actually. So let me see. Save file info manager. And then I also should add the save file state. Okay, so let's switch back to the title screen so we can load in the right way. It's going to let me scroll. Okay, I was gonna say this doesn't match what I thought would happen, but there's an error. Do UI setup. Oh, okay. It's that same issue. Yeah, I know that this is gonna keep causing me problems. I hid the choice dialog so I could actually see what I was doing. But if you do that, it never gets registered. So then the game will complain at this point. Yeah, I have this issue in a lot of my projects. I'm not sure the best way to deal with it. Okay, so we still got an error. Let's see what that's about. So save file. Oh, okay, I need to regenerate the constructor with these new objects. Copy and paste this. And this registry. Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't actually getting a reference to the lobby parameters or the save file. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we can see now that that line for the team is hidden because there's no save file active, so there's nothing for it to get any data from. But everything else still works. Okay, so I think this is probably a good place to stop. Yeah, because well, actually it's been exactly 2 hours, so good. So really all we have to do is just this line. So we gotta add remove slot, kick player, and then transfer the player to another slot, and then also this add slot button. Now these will all act differently if you're in a save mode, because if you're loading from a save file, you can't remove a slot. You could kick a player, that's fine. I don't know if you can transfer. Yeah, so these will all act kind of differently in save mode. But I think I won't deal with that just yet. Yeah, so I'm just going to act like save file mode doesn't exist, and then when we add save files, we can go back and test it. Because another thing is that you can still add slots in save file mode, but you can only add spectators. So that should be kind of interesting. Now you could switch a player to an AI, or even a guest, in save mode, but you couldn't switch a player to a spectator. Yeah, so actually there's a lot of different things, and we'll have to deal with that later. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stop now and go get a bite to eat. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. Feel free to follow me here on Twitch if you want to be notified when I go live next, which should be around noon Eastern tomorrow. I also have a Twitter account where I always post when I go live if that would be easier for you. And then I have a YouTube channel where you can check out any old videos just to see how the game used to look, or if you want to catch up on anything you might have missed. And a Discord server where I try to be on there most of the days, so if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to see you there. But I'll put links in chat, or you can check out the video description if you're watching from YouTube. And I think that's about it. So yeah, again, thanks everybody. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. It's just my throat gets all scratchy. Anyway, bye-bye.